Hello and welcome to the Zero to Web video series, where it is my goal to teach you programming through the process of building a website. Now, in the beginning, we are going to cut corners in spectacular fashion, but we will do so with purpose. Because you will learn through practice that there are good and bad ways of approaching technical problems. But for now, I just want to get you up and running with technologies that you may already be familiar with. So as an experiment, I am going to introduce 2 levels of difficulty into this one video. When you see this symbol, the material that follows is easy. When you see this symbol, the material that follows is more advanced. My recommendation to you is this. First, begin with the easy material. Learn it inside out and beyond. Then, come back for the harder stuff and repeat. The goal of this approach is to make those first hurdles to your learning as low as possible, but you should do whatever works for you. Assuming that you have a computer and internet connection available to you, it is 100% free to get up and running. The first thing that I would like for you to do is open up a web browser. I use Google's Chrome web browser, but for the Zero to Web series, any browser will do just fine. Other options include Firefox, Microsoft Edge, or if you own an Apple computer, Safari is available to you. Your computer will likely have one of these installed already. Use whatever is most immediately available. Alright, if you are watching for the advanced material, I would like for you to go ahead and download Google Chrome instead of using your computer's default browser. Included in the video description below is a link to Chrome's download page. Next, go to your browser's search bar and type in the following, or click the same link in the video description below. You should see a friendly greeting in a big dumb box colored red. Now right-click anywhere on the page and a list of options will be displayed to you. Of these options, select View Page Source. Take a moment to scan this new page for familiar words or phrases. Note any patterns that you see, such as symbols used frequently. Make what sense you can out of this without any prior knowledge. What conclusions do you come to? Your browser can make perfect sense of all of this. What you are seeing are instructions that I have written. They tell your browser about the structure of my web page. Most importantly, when you visit, it tells the browser what to show you. Okay, more advanced material. Go to apple.com. Follow the same instructions from the easy section. That is, right-click, then View Page Source. Find something on apple.com and see if you can also find it in the page's source. Try to find something like a heading, paragraph text, or maybe something trickier like an image. Let's introduce the smallest amount of terminology. These instructions that I've been talking about are written in HTML. For your own curiosity, that stands for Hypertext Markup Language, which you don't really need to know, but it will help you find resources online. Again, HTML is a language that we can use to tell the browser about the structure of our page's content. In web development, much of the programming that you will do is ultimately for sending HTML back to a person's browser. Don't worry about that just yet. For now, you're going to learn how to write this stuff yourself. There's nothing magical about writing HTML. It's just text, and you already have the tools you need on your computer to get started. So this is what I want you to do. If you are on Windows, go ahead and open up Notepad. If you are on an Apple computer, the equivalent application is called TextEdit. Before you type anything, we should save this file so we can continue to use it. You can press Ctrl-S on Windows or Command-S if you're on an Apple computer. Alternatively, select File, then Save As. And the name of this file should be index.html. I'm saving mine to my desktop. Also, go ahead and change the encoding to UTF-8. We'll talk about that later. Okay, time for some more advanced material. The truth is, not all text editors were created equally for a given purpose. For taking down a quick note, TextEdit, Notepad, or similar apps are fantastic, but programming can be tricky. The more needless difficulty we can remove from actually writing code, the more time we can spend thinking about the code and how it works. And that is a metric we would like to optimize for. So we are going to download a code editor that we will use for the remainder of this series. Click the Visual Studio Code link in the video description. Begin downloading for your respective platform. follow the installation procedure, and eventually you should see this window. You can now open the HTML document that you created previously. Or just make a new one. Nothing wrong with a little extra practice. Let's talk and type. From now on, I will be referring to each of these instructions as tags. A tag is everything between a right and left-facing gator. Remember to always begin your HTML document with the doctype tag. All tags will have a name, and some will have attributes, like this lang attribute that I've added to the HTML tag. This is an important concept that every time you open a tag, you must also close it. There are exceptions to this rule, like doctype, but for now consider it to be true unless explicitly instructed otherwise. Okay, more advanced material. The doctype tag is an important one. It tells the browser what standard of HTML we're adhering to. Without it, just know that things might not appear as you expect them to your users. Without the doctype tag, a browser may enter into what is known as Quirks Mode. I've provided a good link in the video description that details some known consequences of this. Go ahead and save your HTML document. Save frequently, not just when I tell you to. It's a good habit to form early. In later videos we'll talk about creating copies of your work, and maybe even versioning, but I haven't quite decided. We are almost to the end now. Bring your browser back into view. Locate the HTML file that you saved. Drag and drop the HTML file into your browser. Chrome, Firefox, or Safari, whichever you chose, is now rendering for you to see your very first HTML document. Anticlimactic maybe, but it is in fact following the instructions we've written so far. Go back to your text editor and we will add one more tag. Save this change, go back to your browser and refresh the page. On Windows you can press Ctrl-R. If you have an Apple computer you can press Command-R. If you've made it this far and you see Hello World in front of you, congratulations. An immediate question you might have, I certainly did when I learned this stuff in the beginning, is how does the rest of the world see this? That will be the topic of the next video. Now is the time for you to experiment with the knowledge you've obtained thus far. I recommend that you read more about HTML and that you look at other tags. Put them in your document and see how they interact with one another on the page. There are links in the video description that I used early on in my career and some that I still use today. These videos are short and I would like to keep it that way, because the more time you spend practicing and figuring things out on your own, or using other resources, the better. There's a lot of information that I could give you, but why would I? What good would it actually do you? Have something in mind that you want to create, because goals like that really act as a compass when navigating such a large space as web development. And lastly, remember that mastery does not happen overnight. So, thank you for watching, and I really hope that this series will help you get your foot in the door by avoiding all of the complexity that so many people seem to advocate for getting into web development and programming.